All right, we're about to get into a really wild idea. One that connects this strange little sea creature to, well, the fundamental laws of physics and maybe even the nature of reality itself. So, it all kicks off with a puzzle hidden inside one of the oldest animals on Earth, the ctenophore, which you might know as the comb jelly. I mean, seriously, what could this simple-looking creature possibly have to tell us about the biggest question of all, consciousness? To really get this, you first have to understand just how, well, alien the comb jelly's mind is. It's like it took a completely different evolutionary road than almost every other animal on the planet. Its nervous system is just so different, it's almost like a separate experiment in how to build a mind. Most animals, from a tiny worm all the way up to us, we use a standard toolkit of brain chemicals, things like serotonin and dopamine, while the comb jelly, nope, it doesn't use them. It's missing a lot of the genes we thought were absolutely essential for building neurons. This has led scientists to a pretty stunning conclusion. The ctenophore might have evolved its entire nervous system on its own, completely separate from us. A second genesis of mind, right here on Earth. But here's where it gets really crazy. The biggest clue isn't in its brain, but in how it develops. And this is where the story takes a fascinating turn, right in the first few days of its life, with something that seems to just defy biology as we know it. This timeline really shows you the heart of the puzzle. So on day 1, you get muscle cells forming a basic physical structure. But look at day 2. The embryo starts moving in a coordinated way. Its little cilia are beating in rhythm, its body is contracting, and it's doing all of this with absolutely zero neurons. The nervous system doesn't even start showing up until day 3. Think about that. The comb jelly has coordinated, lifelike movement before it has a brain to control it. How is that even possible? Well, the answer forces us to look beyond just conventional biology and think about a much deeper principle of organization. It suggests there's this hidden layer to reality that's pulling the strings before the physical parts are even wired together. So the idea is that the world we see, the world of form and motion, the stuff we can touch and measure, that's just the surface. According to this theory, underneath it all is a hidden substrate, and it's called the continuum. It's not something material, not like a rock or a cell. It's better to think of it as an invisible blueprint, a field of pure possibility that the physical world we know actually emerges from. Okay, let's get a bit more specific. The continuum is defined as a unified, non-material field where form and motion are basically one and the same. It's the underlying web of relational energy that lets things be coordinated before the separate parts, like neurons, are even built. It's kind of like the invisible grammar that organizes the language of reality itself. Now, this might sound a little abstract, I get it, but it actually has roots in physics. The theory says that if you could just zoom in to the tiniest possible scales of space and time, the difference between them would just dissolve. And what you'd be left with isn't matter, but the continuum's true nature, a field of pure relationships. So in this view, the closer you look, the less material reality becomes. It transforms into this fabric of pure relational energy. Okay, so we have this fundamental idea, the continuum. Now let's see how we can scale that concept all the way up to explain something we can all recognize, the different layers of our own minds, from a gut feeling all the way to complex thought. This theory proposes a kind of 3-step ladder for the mind. At the very bottom, step 1, you've got the unconscious. This is the base layer where raw physical energies in your body, electrical, chemical, mechanical, first get in sync, just like in that comb jelly embryo. Then you climb up to step 2, the subconscious. This level takes those basic energy waves and organizes them into stable, rhythmic patterns, what we might feel as emotions or intuition or gut feelings. And finally, at the top, step 3, is the conscious mind. This is a higher level field that organizes those subconscious patterns into symbols. This is the world of language, reason, and our sense of I. Now, you might be thinking this all sounds a bit philosophical. But what's so powerful about this whole idea is that you see echoes of it across the hardest of sciences. It isn't just a biology theory. It's a pattern that shows up again and again. So, is the continuum just a neat little trick to explain a weird jellyfish? Or is it something way more fundamental? Is this really just some fringe idea from biology? While the core idea that a continuous field is more fundamental than the separate things in it, that idea shows up all over physics. In classical mechanics, engineers treat a steel beam as a continuous whole, not just a collection of atoms. In electromagnetism, it's the invisible fields that connect and move everything. In Einstein's relativity, reality itself is a unified fabric of spacetime. And get this, even in quantum field theory, the empty vacuum of space is actually a continuous field, and particles are just ripples on its surface. So ultimately, this isn't some brand new idea, it's a universal one. As the quote says, the continuum represents the transition from discrete entities to relational wholeness. It's a principle that suggests that being connected is actually more fundamental than being separate, and it links together all these different fields of science.
And this leaves us with one last really provocative thought. If our own minds are just complex expressions of a universal continuum, the same continuum that lets a jellyfish move without a brain and that underpins the fabric of space-time, then where do we truly begin and end? It kind of challenges our most basic idea of being a separate individual self and suggests we might be a lot more like waves in one single conscious ocean.